Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Today's topic is welcoming Ramadan. When the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam immigrated from Makkah to Medina, he found the Jews of Medina to be fasting on the 10th of the month of Muharram. So he asked his followers to do the same, and he said that you are more deserving of this. And later, when in Surah Al-Baqarah, the injunction for the fasting in the month of Ramadan was revealed, then the Ramadan fast became obligatory and the 10th of Muharram fast became voluntary or supererogatory. In Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 183, it says, O believers, fasting has been imposed on you as it was on those before you, so that you might become God conscious. Now this was too allegedly when this verse was revealed. And more details about fasting are revealed in verses 184 to 187. It is said here, as it was imposed on those before you. So we find that Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam, that is David, used to fast every alternate day. And Hazrat Zakaria alayhi salam, that is Zachariah, was given the sign of his son Hazrat Yahya alayhi salam or John the Baptist, his conception, that he would not be able to to talk to people for 3 days. Similarly, Bibi Maryam or Mary, that is the mother of Jesus, when asked to go back to her people carrying her infant son, and she was instructed, when people start questioning you, then tell them by signs that you cannot speak because you are observing the fast of silence. And point to the infant that he will answer your questions, which he did. Now, some Christians still observe the fast of silence. And the Christian fast has many variations of fasting and abstinence, and the most common factor is abstinence from solid meat of the land. And Friday is supposed to be the most highly recommended day for fasting, and the recommended age is from 14 years to 59. Sometimes you're allowed a full meal, one full meal and 2 small ones in a day, and sometimes only liquids. The Jews fast even today on Yom Kippur as a day of penitence and spiritual cleansing. Even though many non-Muslims speak against the rigorous fasting practice in Ramadan of the Muslims, but there is a Japanese scientist by the name of Yoshinori Osumi. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in 2016 regarding his work on autophagy. Autophagy is the study of the cells of the human body under various conditions. And he concluded that autophagy is accelerated and the cells revive faster, and the aging process is slowed down after a complete fast of 8 to 10 hours. Besides this, illnesses and diseases also come under control. Now, going back to the topic of welcoming Ramadan, it can be explained as creating an atmosphere for the month of Ramadan 2 months before its arrival. This means that from the 7th month of the lunar calendar, that is Rajab, one starts doing some of the things which one does in Ramadan. The Prophet used to pray, O Allah, make the months of Rajab and Shaban blessed for us and make us reach Ramadan. Reaching Ramadan means to be at home and not traveling, to be well and able to fast, and to able to fulfill all the requirements of this month. In the month of Rajab, the reward for good deeds is multiplied manyfold, and similarly, the punishment is also for evil deeds is also multiplied manyfold. Another reason for the importance of Rajab is the fact that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was made to undertake the two-part journey from Masjidul Haram to Masjidul Aqsa, and from Masjidul Aqsa to the heavens, up to the point where even the angels did not dare to tread. Ascending to the seven heavens, he met several prophets such as Hazrat Adam, Abraham, Musa alayhi salam, Moses, and Isa alayhi salam, peace be upon them all. This is described very briefly in Surah 17, that is Al-Isra or Bani Israel. He finally reached the divine presence where he was gifted with the 5 daily prayers, and this is the reason why the obligatory prayers or salah is called the Miraj of the Muslim. There is a hadith in this connection in which the Prophet is reported to have said, Rajab is the month of God, Shaban is my month, and Ramadan is the month of my ummah, that is my followers. It is also said the fasting on the first day of Rajab earns as much reward as fasting for a whole month. And on the first Thursday of Rajab, which is known as Laylatul Raghaib, prayers are answered. The gifts for the believers during this period from God are His mercy, His generosity, and His kindness. In the month of Rajab, there are no recommended nafil salahs, but the more one prays, the more one will be rewarded. Nafil fasts are important in both Rajab and Shaban, but Mondays and Thursdays are highly recommended. And there is a hadith in which the Prophet is reported to have said, one's deeds are sent up for accountability, and I prefer that my deeds are sent when I am in a state of fasting. That is why he used to fast on Thursdays. In the month of Ramadan, all nafil forms of worship are encouraged, such as recitation of the Quran, nafil salah, nafil fasting, zikr, that is remembrance, and umrah if possible, and giving out charity and trying to solve the problems of relatives, mediating between two parties who are not on speaking terms, and striving against one's ego, that is known as jihad bin nafs, and practicing self-control and restraint. All this gives us spiritual and moral training. So all these good practices and training should be continued during the 8th month of Shaban until one reaches the 9th lunar month of Ramadan. In verse 185 of Surah Al-Baqarah, it is mentioned that the month of Ramadan is the one in which the Quran was revealed or started to be revealed. And this also is one of the reasons why Ramadan is important. Now, the expiation for fasting, if one is not able to do it, is that it should be done only by a person who is terminally ill, for whom there is no hope of recovering. But if it is a temporary illness, then the person has to make up the fast later. Similarly, for a person who is traveling. The expiation which is given for the person who has missed a fast should be given in the form of food or money, and should be given to a needy person who is also fasting. In some cases, when a person has broken the bounds with regard to an injunction, he can expiate by fasting. Example, in a state of ihram, when doing Hajj or Umrah, one kills a living creature or kills the game of the land. This is mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 95. Or if one shaves one's head before the sacrifice, then the expiation, besides other things, is also fasting. If one breaks an oath in normal days, then and he wants to get out of it, then one of the suggested expiations is to fast for 3 days. In case of zihar, if a husband swears that his wife is like his mother, and now he wants to get out of this oath, then he has to fast continuously for 2 months, which means continuously means that even if one fast is missed, then he has to start all over again. Besides all this, all the little things which are sins like backbiting, telling lies, using vulgar language, indulging in vulgar thoughts, being quarrelsome, all these things also have to be avoided. All the recommended good deeds such as treating the poor and needy well, helping them by giving out charity. Now the charity is sadaqah or khairat, which is besides the zakat, because zakat is not charity, it is a tax. And it should be continued even after Ramadan. Another good benefit of fasting is the detoxification of the body and the riddance of all forms of addictions. We hope and pray that all of us are able to fast and remain steadfast and always on the good habits acquired during Ramadan. Thank you for listening.